Hello everyone. This is Setupati. Setupati, you want to say hello? Okay.
Tell them where we are.
Yes, exactly. Well, I don't need to tell much. Here is it. Oh, no, I need to. So I cannot turn it around then.
Oh, you should.
I can.
I do that.
This is where we are.
Yeah, that's good.
We are on the roads of Chennai, and it's about 7:50 in the morning, and we are headed to the workshop venue, and we have 4 of us in this car. Setupati, you just saw him. He said hello to you.
Yes.
I have Pedro, myself, and Dr. Rob Long sitting in the back.
Oh, and this guy has a PhD in navigation.
Yes. Setupati has a PhD in road navigation. Of course, air navigation as well included in India.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rob, what should we talk about?
Why don't we talk about what is the most important question you think people should ask? Why don't we talk about that? What question should people ask? You know, of all the questions people have.
Yes.
What is, and for me, I think one of the most important questions is, what is it to be a person? So that's my one. What's yours, Pedro? What's yours? Well, a really important question that people should ask.
What is it?
Yeah.
What is it to be happy?
Okay, what's to be happy? That's very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Nippin?
I think it would be good to ask the question, what does it mean to be an educated person?
An educated person. Or, yes. So
Yeah.
they're all kind of connected to being human, to be a person.
That's right, yes.
And the completeness of being a person.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go with your one, Nippin. What is it to be an educated person? Maybe we should make a couple of steps back just to the idea of what is it to be human and what is being present in the world. So I think when even as we drive these streets, you know, there's a certain necessity to accept what is, not to fight or try to control what is, because the agony of trying to control everything in the world is a tyranny. It's a torture. It's miserable. One of the best things that I've experienced in my time in Chennai is relaxing and going with the flow, relaxing and enjoying these people and being in their world and accepting their world. How dare I bring my Western assumptions, my Western idea of schooling, my Western idea of what it is to be educated, how dare I bring that to their world and say, this is stupid, you should follow my way. And that's even more so when we look at the attitude to religion and things like that. So yeah, so for me, I'd rather go back to being, and then that should change the way you think about personhood. What is it to be a person? I don't know, Pedro.
Yeah, I think we both experienced that yesterday, just for the simple fact of getting on board a tuk-tuk.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Here's a tuk-tuk.
Yeah, one of these little yellow things.
Yes.
It is an experience of a lifetime, isn't it?
There's no way you can.
Oh, you can't explain
There's
it.
only the minute you step in, you've given out.
Yes.
You've given into the flow.
Yes. You have to give into the flow because there are lanes on the road, but no one uses them.
No, it's just
there are safety rules and signs everywhere, but no one uses them.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one uses them. I saw even a rule yesterday on the side saying, please, not 3 passengers on a motor scooter, right? Not 3.
There you go.
And there's 3, right? Just there. And sometimes 4.
Children and no helmet.
Yeah, children with no helmet. And all this, look,
Yeah.
there's 2, one with 4 and one with 3. So you learn very, very quickly that they're rules in name only, because when you join into this, it's like it's organic. And the funny thing is, it has to be. We're in a city of 11 million people, and there's a lack of infrastructure like you can't believe, but it actually works. It just doesn't work on my system. You know, if you come to my city, people would be outraged at this. These outraged that a motorbike would cut in and move ahead. You know, because we have this crazy idea of fairness and I was here first and all that stuff. It doesn't work like here. Driving on these streets is an act of graciousness. I haven't seen any road rage. I haven't seen any anger. People accept this, and you just move in and out and you go with the flow. What's that got to do with personhood? Well, part of the problem I think we have even in my country is we have such a thirst to control other people, and we use rules to control them, that in fact we depersonalize the other person. The most important thing becomes then what my interpretation of the rule is and how I can apply that to you so that you bend to me, you know. And in the risk and safety world, we have hierarchies of control and we have regulations, and that's how we use them. We use them of instruments of power. And once you do that, you start depersonalizing the other person. I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to ask you a question. I don't have to inquire about your culture. I don't have to understand your cultural values. I don't have to understand your environment or your experience. Here are my regulations. Here are my rules. And I'm now going to use them against you to control you. And I often do it in the name of safety, because if I don't control you, you're going to die. So yeah, I find it fascinating. This I mean really, you go on these roads, I can't see any controls.
Yes, and you're not seeing any controls because you're letting go of the idea of control.
Yes.
You are immersed in this culture. You want to understand it, not control it.
Yes.
And that's probably the mistake that we make most of the times, that we come with our own lenses and we think that we know what culture means without even understanding the other person's culture.
Well, isn't it fascinating? This is the history of a country, like the history of my country, where colonialists came in, where my mythology is better than your mythology. So in my story, in my country, the English came in with their belief in God and Jesus Christ and the Anglican Church and Roman Catholicism. The missionaries came in and they found Indigenous First People Australians who had been there for 65,000 years before them. But when they came in, our view, our superior view, is better than your view. My myths that I've made up are better than your myths. And the English did that here in India. They did the same. We're in a region here now that is 1/3 Hindu, 1/3 Christian, and 1/3 Islamic, Muslim, right?
Correct.
And so the history is there. The fascinating thing is, Nippin, it is amazing how they get on.
Yes.
It is amazing how they tolerate each other.
Correct.
So despite all the rules of that are in place in those religions, this place goes in the flow.
Indeed.
It goes in the flow.
And we saw that yesterday, the pictures of 3 different gods from 3 different religions.
All side by
put
side.
together.
Take your pick. Which myth do you want to go by today?
Yes.
Take them all.
So
Take them all.
coming back to the question, Rob.
Yep.
What is this? Why is it relevant to the question? What does it mean to be an educated person? Let's just sum it up now.
Okay. Well, I think it's important that we don't confuse education with schooling, because, like Paulo Ferreira said, schooling in many ways is like banking. It's a form of cultural reproduction, but it's not about the learning or discovered learning of a person. And so what is it to be an educated person is not to be a trained person or a schooled person. It's not about gaining competencies. And we have this crazy idea that skill development and competencies is what education is. It's not. That's just schooling. The truth of the fact is, a lot of people never talk about the importance of wisdom. And to really be an educated person, you have to move into the ethical. How do we live with others? Not what cognitive knowledge do I have in maths or science, but the truth is, how do I live in this world with others? That is the question when it comes to education. And again, here we are in a place. How can I best live in this culture? I can't control it. I can't change its history, and I either then become educated in it in wisdom, or I can start schooling everyone else and saying, you're wrong, here's the proper knowledge, here's this knowledge. And I'm sad to say, that's how the risk and safety industry approaches the world.
Correct.
Your knowledge is wrong, here's the knowledge, this will keep you safe.
Yes, and that's a really good point, Rob, because the next question I was going to ask you was that what relevance does this question have to organizational life, to organizations?
Again,
because I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
Yep.
The moment you let go of the idea of control, you are in the space of understanding the other person. You're in the space of meeting the other person.
Yeah,
and I think that is very, very important in organizational life, because as Carl Weick very rightly says, you cannot organize me and I cannot be part of your organization if you don't take the time to understand me.
Correct.
The whole act of organizing is not about systems and processes.
No.
It is really about understanding the other person. It's about building relationships.
Absolutely.
It's building trust with other people.
Yep.
And I think that's really, really important. So to
Yes.
be an educated person, I think, is the essence of organizing.
Yes. I think a lot of people think that organising is about systems, creating rules and systems. It's interesting. I wish I could remember that definition that Carl Weick uses of organising.
It's on the second page of the book, Social Psychology of Organizing. It's a wonderful book to read, a must-read book. Yes.
But I can't remember it now.
Yeah.
But it's very.
I will put the excerpt there in the video later on.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking this morning about leadership, because we're going to a day today to talk about leadership, and depending on how you define it, I see leadership very much as learning how to serve and learning how to follow and learning how to flip between those roles. So yes, there are times when the leader needs to exercise power and authority, but in the very next breath, that same person needs to know how to exercise humility and following. But we don't get that, again, in the Western view. We don't get that idea. It's more about managing and controlling rather than, I could walk onto a ship and the person with the greatest knowledge could be the person who's got the lowest level, but because they've got the lowest level, I don't talk to them. Yep. Or it could be on a building site, and I could, and this often happens, we have safety people with no experience at all in a particular trade, and they roll up to someone who's been in that trade for 30 years and tells them how to be safe.
Correct.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
Rob, I'll stop it there. I think this is really good. Yeah, sure.
Just to go back to the tuk-tuk experience, the interesting thing about all this is that the minute you step in and he starts running around, you go with the flow of the road.
Yeah.
Did you actually feel unsafe?
No, I trusted him.
Exactly. So the minute you go with the flow, you actually start to feel, it feels quite good and you feel safe. You're alert.
Yeah.
But you feel safe because you build a trust with the person.
I had no choice but to have faith and trust in my driver. I had no choice. Yeah. And I actually didn't worry.
It feels good.
I didn't worry. It felt good, yes.
And just to add to the beautiful thing you said just now, not to feel safe, but to feel your feelings. And I think that is the key to it.
Yes, it
most
is.
of the people get to work and they have no connection with their feelings and emotions.
No.
Right? Because they are at a very brain-centric level.
Yes,
they
very.
never experience their selves.
Yes.
And
yes.
so to be an educated person is to feel yourself, is
Yes.
to realize your potential,
Yes.
because that's where it is. It's in the unconscious.
Yes.
In your feelings and emotions make up for your unconscious.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful point you made.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop it
You
here.
stop that.
Yeah.